Hello, good morning. Welcome to another tutorial. What we're going to concentrate on today is going to be on the use of the join command. The join command is found under data and join table. I don't have this highlighted here because I've not imported or opened any project yet. But I'm going to concentrate on this activity 4, and we're going to see what it entails. The table we'll be using, there are two tables, payroll and empmass. So before I begin, let us open our project. The project is given from file, you click on open project. So let us locate where our sample project is. I can see it here, so I click on it and click open. If you see any pop-up like this, click on working. Alright, so this is my table. This is my project. Under this, I have a script. I have tables. Then I have workspaces. So let me click on tables. The table we're going to make use of this morning is found under payroll analysis. The first one is empmass and the second one is payroll. So what does the assignment say, or the practice exercise? Our tables are empmass and payroll, which I've seen. So the purpose of this exercise is to provide you practice in using the join command. The join command. And the join command shows how to join two separate tables so that you can use the outcome table as a single table for your analysis. Now, in doing join command or in using the join command, the first thing you have to make sure in the tables you want to use is that both of them have a particular field that is common to the two of them. So let us examine what we have in empmass. Empmass simply means employee master file. That is the master file of our employees in Metaphor company. So the payroll is a table that contains or consists of the payroll transactions and activities. Now let's examine empmass by double clicking on it. If I double click, I can see I want to just do some inspection. Now I have an employee number. I have first name, last name, address, city, state, country code. I got so many columns or fields. So let's concentrate on the employee number. And I have found something to use to marry these two tables. Employee number is common under payroll. Employee number is common under employee master file. So what is the case study? The human resources administrator has had complaints from a couple of employees who say they were underpaid. Now that's a case study, underpaid employees. Also, last month's payroll is several $1,000s higher than expected. So what is happening? The payroll was not supposed to be higher than what we've been paying for. Was it that we hire new employees, or was it that some employees were accidentally overpaid? So those are the things we, as an auditor, that's what we are going to examine and query in our data. So you suspect that other employees may have been overpaid by mistake. Okay, that's a very right assumption. The human resources administrator wants you to use your ACL skill to analyze the payroll record and to identify all potential payroll problems. Our task number 1 is to confirm that the difference between these two tables for this month is this amount. So which means there was certain difference, between the table. Number 2, valid employees who were not paid. Then number 3, payroll payment that are not accounted for by matching master table records. Then number 3, we are asked to identify the employees who were paid more than one time, and it gives us a condition that we should ensure that all identified discrepancies account for the full amount of the difference found in task 1. Okay. If you have your payroll double click that is boarding open, close it, click on it and close table. I need employee master file first of all to be open. So what I'll do is I'll double click on it. That is what I need first. Employee master file has 42 records. So this is the master file. We have employee number, first name and last name, address, city, and so on and so forth. So what are we going to do? The question says that we should confirm that the difference between the two tables, employee master file and payroll, is these amounts. Okay, so from our overview, this is log. Okay, this is overview. We've already selected employee master file, and you will see this tiny green button here denoting or indicating that EmpMast is now open. So I'll go to analyze. From analyze, I'll click on total fields. So total, I'm going to total. I'll click on this. So from this, I'll select or click on total fields. What am I totaling the field on? So I'm going to click on pay per period. The pay per period, I will select it here. Okay, and then I will click on OK. Okay, so from OK, I can also click again on OK. Alright, so this is the pay per period for that. Since I'm looking for a difference between the employee master file and the payroll table, so I want to do something that's going to help me to achieve that. So what I'm going to do now is that I'll go to edit, click on variables. Now this is the first total. Click on total 1 and then click OK. So from this place you can see that this total 1 is actually what we have as our output here, which is the same as we have here. Now it is named total 1. Okay, now instead of total 1, I want you to save it as pay per period. That's PPP underscore total. That is all, and you will click OK. The reason why we have to name it is because we are also going to total for our gross pay under payroll, and it's still going to name it total 1. So instead of having total 1, maybe total 2, let's name it something that we can easily come back to. So I'll click OK. Thank you. So after that, then under this same table, under this project, I'll go to payroll, double click on it. When I double click on it, I will have the table open as I have it before me here. and that is indicated by this green dot here. So from here also, I'll go to analyze total field. I will click on total fields, double click gross pay, and then I'll click OK. From there also I'll click OK. So I have my total field to be here. Now I'm not going back to edit as I did the first time. What I'm going to do now is I will go to Windows. I want to create some commands here. I want to use the command line, so I'll say show command line. So from this place I want to create a formula which I've already created before. Calculate pay per period, that is total for pay per period minus, that is this pay per period total we have already calculated before. So minus total 1 minus total 1, because total 1 will now be this particular figure which we now got later. After typing calculate the result for PPP total minus total 1, then you now click on this green check button, which is accept entry. So if I accept entry, it's going to give me a summary of what I've just done now, which is a PPP underscore total, that is pay per period underscore total minus total 1, and the addition is minus 328, and that might be indicative of the fact that this payment may not have been approved. That is, it is beyond what was supposed to have been approved. And the question or the task was to confirm the difference, or to confirm that the difference between these two tables for this month is this, which is exactly what we have here. So that is how we get the solution for task number 1, to confirm that the difference between these two tables for this month is 3,284.82. So to move to the next table, you will realize that we did not use any join command in the first analysis because we were only looking for difference, that is minus. But in this second task, which says that we should identify the following exceptions by using join command. First one is to find the valid employees who were paid an incorrect amount. The second one is to find valid employees who were not paid. The third one is to find payroll payments that are not accounted for by matching master table records. So valid employees are going to be determined by those employees that are found in the master file, but maybe they are not in the payroll. Maybe these guys are just ghost workers that every month they are receiving our salaries from the company, but they're not really, part of the company. They're not really present in the company. They're not in the master file of the company, which is the employee master file, or EMPMAST. So let's see how we can do that. So our task is to join these two tables together. First of all, before we make attempt to find solutions for this particular three questions. So what do we do now? From this overview, we double click on employee master file table, which is called empmask here. We make sure that your primary table is open. Not this is not the primary, this is a secondary table. Employee master file is the original table that contains all the data that pertains to our employees in the company. So this is just for payroll, which means there might be some employees on the payroll that are not actually on the master file record. So make sure that the primary table, which is the empmask, is selected. Then you go to data. From data, we want to join tables. So I click on join tables. Now note that here you have secondary table, you have primary table, but under primary table there is no such thing as this. Why? The reason is because it is assumed that before you got here, your primary table was already opened. So we're not going to look for it. The first thing we want to do is to select which one is going to be our secondary table of all the tables that we have here. So our secondary table is going to be payroll. So you click payroll. So yeah, immediately you click payroll, you find out that these two have been activated, empmask and payroll. Both of them have been activated. The first one is called 1, the second one now is 2, to let you see that empmask is the primary table, while payroll is the secondary table. Now, I told you the other time that before you join two tables together, at least one table has to be present in the primary and also in the secondary table. So in this case, we are using the employee number field. So two fields has to be the same. In order to join two tables together in ACL, two fields has to be the same. In our own case, we have employee number. If we open payroll also, we will find employee number there. So that is the only condition whereby we can make use of join command. So having selected payroll here, then we now go ahead to select that particular employee number, which is the primary key. That is what keys us together. That's what joins us together. That's what allows us to join these two tables together. We click the primary key. We've selected it. You don't need to see it. Once you have selected it here, it's already done when you click OK. So what is our secondary key? Our secondary key also is employee number. So this is it. We have it here. You just click OK. Those two are done. We may not see them. Then, so what fields do you want to be seen? So the primary field we want to see, number one, of course, we need employee number. What else should we? We also need paper period, because that's actually what we are working on. We need this too, of course. So also we go to secondary field. We select employee number. In this case, we select gross pay. That is what we're going to need. So we've selected primary key, a secondary key, which of course they were the same, employee number. We have also selected primary fields and secondary fields. So where are we going to save it? We want this table to be extracted out, though we are not using the extract command, but we want it to be present here as a table, so that, because we have 3 questions under that table, so we want to save it as a separate table. I want it to appear here, not just on the screen. So we go to here, and we will type empmast underscore. We use join command. The way you name your table, would let it reflect what you have done on that table or tables. So empmast, from empmast we use a join command, with payroll. You just pay underscore to see all our payments, all PS, or you can just say all pays if that is what you want to use, but all payments. But make sure what you are doing is not going to confuse you. So I'm using empmast underscore join underscore pay underscore all payments. We want to analyze it, then I'm supposed to click OK, but I will wait. I want some things to be included, and that's why I will come under this join categories, select match primary record. We want them to be matched. Then we will include all primary records, and we also include all secondary records. Make sure you do this, or else you might not be able to get the right output or result. So now click OK. Oh, I already have one before. Okay, yes, so we'll write it. Alright, so now this is what we have here. We have our empmast join underscore pay underscore all PS here, and this is the table. We only have 45 records there. So remember, you have 42 records there or something. Let me see how many records we have. 42 records, and the payroll has 44 records. But empmast underscore join underscore pay underscore all PS has 45 records, because we asked it to join everything, to include everything under those two tables. And you will notice that joining empmast and payroll brings the join in the middle of the both of them. So we have the table now. So what do we want to do with this table? What we want to achieve now is to identify the following exceptions. After we've joined it: valid employees who were paid incorrect amount. That's the first one. The second one is valid employees who were not paid. The third one is payroll payments that are not accounted for by matching our original master table records. So let's get down to business. So the first one you want to do is, we are going to be making use of filters. So for the first one, let me go back again. Valid employees who were paid incorrect amount. So I will click on FX here. This is FX. So this first question: valid employees who were paid in an incorrect amount. Having selected our joint table, we go ahead and click on edit view filter. So from there, I'll click on pay per period. Pay per period is from empmast. So I want to check pay per period records that are not equal or that are not in tandem with pay per period in payroll, which we call gross pay. Okay, if you notice very well, you find out that this gross pay is the same as pay per period here, but pay per period comes from our employee master file, while gross pay comes from our payroll. So this is what was used to pay the employees, but this was what's supposed to have been paid. These are the people who were supposed to have been paid in the or from the master file. So we go ahead, we've gotten this. So what else do we want to put here? We now say, and not is blank. That is, we've used is blank before. Is blank is if it is blank, but we're saying, okay, these records, we're not looking for blank records here now. Okay, it's not blank. For which record? Employee number. So we click employee number to be inside that is blank function. Or gross pay that are not found in paper period, and employee number is not blank. That is, we want to identify those employees. So having done that, we will add another one, and gross pay at last, and gross pay is not equal to, or is greater than 0. That is, we are not looking for an empty file. Gross pay, the guy that they were paid, that we don't find the record in the master file, we want to see those guys that were paid. That is, not just 0, they were actually paid, which means greater than 0. We want to see and recognize the employee number, having known that the records are in payroll, but maybe they're not in the employee master file. So that is the formula we are going to make use of. Let's verify this. It gives us and says expression is valid, so we can click on OK. So we have 2 employees. Remember we said we don't want the employees to be blank. So that's why we don't have blank employees there, employee numbers. And we also want to make sure that the gross pay were actually paid. Guys were actually paid. Okay. And that's why we have this. So gross pay for the first employee 00020 is 3,437, whereas in the employee master file he was supposed to be paid 3,637.50. So there's a problem there. So this guy was actually paid, but he was underpaid. The second employee here is 000120. He was also paid, but he was also underpaid. And if you see, the employee number in our master file is matching with employee number in our payroll file or record, which means it is exactly these employees or that are being affected. Let's go ahead and see that question again. They say we should identify the following exceptions. They say valid employees who were paid an incorrect amount. So we can now note these 2 guys down that they were not paid correctly. Okay, if you see the paper period compared to gross pay, they are so very different. So we have 2 employees. So that answers the first question. And how did we get that? By making use of this filter. So, and how did we get to use this filter? By creating a join table. So this is how you fish out those employees that has inconsistencies in their payments. Maybe it has been happening several months, we don't know, but we are just analyzing for this month, hypothetically for this month. So that is what we have here. If you want to extract this result, what you do is you go to data, instead of extract data, you use extract to other applications. So from there, you're going to, the first thing you do is that you select the fields. We need all the fields. Then you can click on Excel. This is Excel. We want it in Excel format. Okay, we can now name it, maybe we can name it the same name, mpmast underscore join underscore pay underscore all ps, but it's going to be in .xls file. You don't need to put it out, just say okay. Okay, so if that is saved, if you want to know where you have saved it, under C, users MBA, that is user M is the MBA, document is under document. You see ACL docs, I created that, ACL plus docs, and so on and so forth. So this is where it will say. But if you are looking for history, you can just copy this, copy, go to file, from PC, you can just paste it here and press enter. Okay, so this is the document. So the second task is that we should, find the valid employees who were not paid. So let's see how we're going to do that. Valid employees who were not paid. So we go to our table again. Remember, you have applied this filter here. So what you do is you cancel or remove the filter so that we can move on to the next one, because we can create another filter under these two records. So remove filter. Okay, valid employees who were not paid. So from here we also click on not is blank, because we are using this not is blank, that is because we know that there are some employees who are blank, okay, but valid employee means that no, not blank, not is blank. Can you get it now? So we double click employee number, but not employee number that are blank. You get it now? So after is blank, we click and, because that's part of the query. It says valid employees who are not paid. So this is valid employees, that is blank employee. No, we don't want invalid employees, not invalid employees. So, and the second part of the query is, and the gross pay equals 0, because it says valid employee who were not paid. So valid employee, the employee record is we have it in our master file, okay, and it's not blank. We are looking for valid genuine employee, that is valid genuine employee number that are not just blank in the record, okay, and the gross pay is nothing, that is they were not paid. So verify, okay, and then we click OK. So how many are they? We only have one employee who was not paid, but his record is in the master file. Can you see that now? So the record is in the paper period, or which we found under employee master file, but at the end of the day it was not paid at all. So that is it for that. The other one, which is the third one, is the payment or payroll payment that are not accounted for by matching master table records. So again, I will remove this filter. If you want to save that, you can also go to data and export to other applications like we did the other time. If you want to save the former record, you can go to data, export to other applications like we did the other time. So now we have empmask join table open again, and we want to find the payroll payment that are not accounted for by matching master table records. So we click on FX, edit view filter. So from there we double click on gross pay is greater than 0, okay, and employee number is not equivalent to the employee number in the payroll table. So let's go back and read what the question is asking. Payroll payment that are not accounted for by matching master table records. So in the master table records we have employee number, in the payroll we have employee number 2. So gross pay from the payroll is greater than 0. That is, it's not 0. They were actually paid. But which employees were they being paid? Are those employees in the payroll record also found in the master table or master record? So that's what this expression right is talking about. The guy was paid right, that this gross pay is greater than 0, which gross pay is found in payroll table. But the second expression, part of the expression now says that these employees that have their payment, that is gross pay, located in payroll, can we find matching records for the employee number in the employee master file record? So let's see if it's valid. It's valid, so click OK. All right, so we now see that we have an employee number in the payroll record that are receiving salary maybe every month, I don't know, but we are just taking a sample this month. I said let us even call an auditor, which is you, to audit this month's payments. And we find out now that employee number 000108 and employee number 000109 and employee number 000320 have been paid. They've been paid, 2,179, 1,662, but their records are not in the master file. So there's a problem. Are these guys ghost workers? Or maybe someone in the accounting department or in the payroll, department is playing some tricks on the, on the company's resources. So this is what we find. This record, you are going to submit the record, so it is good for you to export to other applications like we did. If the question in the assignment is asking you to comment on it, then you can now comment in a Word format, and if you don't want to use a Word format, you can still make your comments underneath here. These employees are being underpaid, which is okay. Can you see that now? So you can save this and finally save in your flash. You can use save as if you want to do that. Save in your flash. You locate where your flash drive is, and that's how you do it. Okay, so let me just go back. Okay, so we've done for the first, the second, and the third. This first, second, and third here, it says we should identify valid employees who were paid an incorrect amount So we found out that 3 were underpaid. Was it not so? About 3. Then the second one is valid employees who were not paid at all. Okay, we saw the records in the master file, but in payroll, under payroll, they were not actually paid. And this third one, payroll payment, they are not accounted for by matching master table records. So the records are in the payroll, that is, they were paid, but there is no record for them in the employee master file. So when we're employing these workers, they were not part of those we employed, but they were part of those we have been paid. So there's a problem there, a real problem here, So that is that. We now go to the third task, which is to identify employees who were paid more than one time. We should ensure that all identified discrepancies, another word for discrepancy is mismatch or inconsistencies, account for the full amount of the difference found in task 1. And task 1 says valid employees who were paid an incorrect amount. Okay, so how do we do that? So the first thing we do is to remove filter. Remove the filter from the last filter we applied. Okay, so we get back to our 45 records.